All right, welcome back to the Counteract podcast brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. I'm Abigail DeJarnatt, and today is going to be interesting. I'm joined here on the podcast today with not only my brother, Caleb DeJarnatt, whom you have met on recent episodes of the podcast, but I also have one of my best friends, Lydia Paris, Ollie's sister, here on the podcast today. All three of us. Buckle up. It's gonna be fun, guys. Thanks so much for joining us today in my house where we're filming. If you're watching and you're noticing that we're in a slightly different setup, we knew we could trap Caleb if we just filmed in
I just took a drink.
the house. Earlier, yes. Caleb, we were doing some audio tests, and Caleb was taking a drink of his coffee, and Emma was like, "Caleb, I can hear you gulp. So if you hear Caleb gulp, we're trying to edit that out."
I'm trying not to make it sound.
Okay. Welcome back to the Counteract podcast. So here's why we're doing this particular episode. So Tuesday nights, where we live, is half price movie night.
Nice.
I think it's like, isn't that like I feel like it's like a movie theater like thing. Anyway, we like half price movie nights. We like summer movies, whatever.
Always.
And so Oren, Allie and Lydia's brother, who also works on our podcast, he suggested that we go see a movie as quote unquote podcast research. And
He
so
just wanted
like,
to go see a movie.
he just wanted to go see a movie, but like
he knows how to get us.
He knows how to get us. So we were got. And so we went to see Disclosure Day. And so after we walked out of that particular movie, I was like, guys, do you just want to talk about this on the podcast? So to preface, from a just a preference perspective, what were your thoughts on the movie, Lydia and Caleb?
Ew. I did not like the movie.
Yeah. And so also just like before we kind of get into this conversation, we get a lot of pushback on this particular podcast. It's also our highest views on episodes when we do movie reviews. Caleb and I did a really long interview recently on like why evaluating stories is so important, but both Lydia and Caleb recently graduated from seminary. So can you guys just like very quickly remind us why it is important that we assess the media of our culture as Christians, like, and that there's a difference between whether or not we liked something and like that there are worldview themes.
That was his capstone, so go ahead, Caleb.
That's
okay.
right.
Yes.
Go listen to the podcast, but also just as a refresher.
Yes, I know. I didn't know I was going to have to talk about like anything real today. She said, you're just going to come on the podcast, talk about the movie. But no, since we are supposed to, as Christians, take every thought captive to be obedient to Christ, it's, and we're supposed to discern everything. What is it? Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. That's the one I was trying to get to. I was going to say Romans 12:2 the whole time.
Good ones on
Thank
the way.
you. Yes, I did. I was like, Romans 12:2 is not take every thought captive, but that's a good one too.
Yes,
But
it's like 2 Corinthians 10.
yes, it's something with one of the C ones.
Yeah, I think it's Corinthians.
Yes, I'm so bad at my
I'm not the
references.
seminary
Do not
grad,
judge me for my
you have to look
references.
it up.
I know the verses.
Fact check
References are terrible. But yes, we have to take every thought captive, and that includes what we let into our minds, like what we watch, what we consume. We have to be discerning and discern it according to the Word of God, according to Scripture, according to Christian worldview.
Yeah. And then Lydia, like from a like cultural perspective, like maybe it's like, okay, I'm not going to go watch Disclosure Day, this alien movie directed by Steven Spielberg, but like why is it important that we as Christians are still like aware of the narratives, the themes that are in mainstream culture?
Right. Well, I mean, honestly, it's just to be a witness. So like if you're pointing back to the truth, you need to know the other mainstream thought patterns, I guess, that are just out there, so that you can teach. It's kind of like a compare and contrast. So like there's this out there, or there's this narrative, and yet what is the truth? And so you bring it back to the truth of God's word. So
yeah,
that's why I do it.
Yeah, this is the culture that we live in. Like this is where we are. This is where we live. This is where like these
we are.
Yeah. Like these movies, like these mainstream movies, like they're kind of, I mean, they are like the medium, the conduit of like ideas in our culture. So when we see
Good words,
themes,
conduit.
thank you. When we see themes coming up over and over again, and we recognize the dissonance with these themes, these worldviews, with the Christian worldview. Again, it's something that we as Christians need to be aware of, and we need to know how to talk about it so that ideas continue to pervade our culture, and like the Overton window of like what our culture deems as normal or acceptable shifts. We as Christians aren't like reacting to it as if weren't like aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, if you heard me say, Abby, it's an alien movie, you will keep talking about aliens.
Ooh!
I know we keep talking about aliens, and I get
Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you listen to the aliens episode that Caleb and I just did, it's like not my first choice. But again, when we see the same themes coming up over and over again, we as Christians have to be aware of it so we can take every thought captive so that we can be a witness and so make it obedient to Christ, because these are the things that our culture is thinking about. And this is actually true because even after the aliens episode, I was at a baby shower like with like my Christian conservative friends, and one of my friends was like, oh yeah, my mom has really been like digging into alien stuff, and so I sent her your episode. And then another person was like, oh wait, what are your thoughts on aliens? Like people are thinking about this and talking about it even if it seems outlandish. So
Yes.
we have to be able to
Also, just so you know, this movie definitely proves our aliens are demons hypothesis.
Like,
It's like, even Steven Spielberg agrees.
yeah, well, no, actually, that's where I want to start, because like Steven Spielberg agrees, and not in like a this is science fiction and this is a cool movie. It literally where is this quote? He says of this movie, and when he was making movies like this, it says that's when he first became like a believer in like aliens as like supreme beings. Yeah, truly. Okay, so this is from an article from the Associated Press, and this is a quote from Steven Spielberg. It's quote, "It's my first film that will be considered science fiction that I do not consider to be science fiction," Spielberg said in a recent interview. "It's much more reflective of the world as it is evolving and discoveries that are being made as we speak," unquote.
Ew.
Yeah, no, again, he says, this is the first movie that I've made that will be considered science fiction that I do not consider to be science fiction. Thus, it proves our entire... Caleb's processing this. If you're not watching this like on Real Life Network or YouTube, you should find Caleb's facial expressions of this particular one. And Oren told us that we should even go listen or watch this movie in the first place as a quote unquote podcast research again.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted us to come watch it, but he sent us a quote. And what was kind of the extent of the quote?
Oh, so I pulled this one up. So this is the quote that also got me hooked. This is how Oren got me there. But Steven Spielberg also said, "Is God our God only on this planet? Or is God a God for every system where there's civilization and intelligent life and even developing life?"
And that was something that kept coming up throughout the movie, was not just aliens are real, we're kind of in this like apocalyptic, because like the premise of the movie, kind of spoiler not spoiler.
It doesn't even matter if it's spoiled. Don't watch it. It's terrible.
Actually the most basic plot I think I've ever seen.
No, but it's like super
Just kidding, you can watch it if you want.
weird.
Yeah.
But basic summary is like the government has been hiding information about aliens and also has been doing experiments on them, quote unquote, torturing them, and we're crying because alien empathy, again, is we keep having alien empathy, and we need to go, like, you can listen to the Project Hail Mary episode if you want to be mad at us.
By the way, Project Hail Mary, infinitely better movie than this.
Infinitely better.
I
movie
enjoyed
than this.
watching Project Hail Mary to an extent. I did not enjoy watching this one.
No, this one was freaky and it was really weird. But like the whole premise is like what government's hiding this information, and it's disclosure day. Like, we're gonna tell the world what's really happening. There really are aliens, and they are benevolent and kind, and empathy is the supreme value in the universe, is a real quote. And also, again, like, we can't just leave it at that. It's like we have to introduce into this particular narrative, what then do we do with God?
Listen.
Yeah, that's the last line.
The last line of the movie. It's like a build up, build up, build up, build up. Listen. Credits.
No disclosure, really.
No real disclosure. Yeah, no, and it, like, kind of the theme is like another line that keeps coming up is, don't be afraid of what you don't know. And so I just want to kind of like pause here. And if you go back and listen to the episode that Caleb and I did where it's this question as to whether this even happened, meeting with the Department of Justice and evangelical leaders with the actual real UFO files that were released. Like, that's not even like a movie. Like, UFO files were released and they were called that. And supposedly, per se, again, still a question as to whether or not this actually happened. You can go back and listen to that episode, but evangelical leaders were called into the Pentagon to let them know what was going to be released, because, wow, this might cause a crisis of faith for Christians if they find out that, quote unquote, aliens are real. And Caleb and I did the whole episode basically being like,
that's a dumb.
what? What's,
I don't know. It's all dumb.
Oh dear.
but what specifically was dumb?
Like most of it. I don't know exactly what you're asking.
Yeah, no. Well, I was asking what we talked about on the podcast, but basically the
I
premise
don't
of the
remember.
podcast. Yeah, Caleb was just warming up. Caleb was there to say demons and aliens like repeatedly.
Wait,
We had these
why was I
conversations
going
all
to
the
say like two words that are the same thing?
For everyone to spot the difference between these two things.
They're the same picture.
They're the same picture. Yeah. But what we talked about in that episode is like, why to Christians to discover, quote unquote, that there are non-human intelligent things that are interdimensional and have some spiritual component. That should be the least surprising as Christians. All right, we have a guest joining us
Lucy.
on the podcast today. This is Lucy, the rat dog. She's
Yes.
my dog. She is a toy Australian Shepherd. She is nice, but she is
Needy.
yes.
It's very needy.
Yes. She also
wants
is
to say
probably an
hi.
alien, but a nice one.
She is. We have called her an alien for a long
Yeah,
time.
but now that we're defining aliens,
See,
it's
look.
not necessarily the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Bye, Lucy.
Bye, Lucy. Go downstairs.
Lucy, thanks for joining us today on the Counteract podcast, brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. Spit out your coffee. All right. So, guys, thoughts on the movie, thoughts on quotes. I started writing down quotes at a certain point in the movie.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Yeah, I started to. I was
Oh,
looking at
man.
you for a reaction at one point in the movie, and I was like, "Why is she on her phone?" I realized she's just gonna.
I was reacting that hard up, but okay, wow, no. One of the quotes was from a nun, because this one chick.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah,
very-
because again, like, they couldn't just, like, when they're saying science fiction, again, Steven Spielberg doesn't even believe that this is science fiction. A lot of people don't believe that this is science fiction. I don't really believe that it's science fiction, like the scenario, yeah. But as far as like, we're trying to make aliens into this like separate category from this spiritual thing. But what Caleb says about aliens is, well, about the movie
Oh,
specifically,
yeah.
he was like, so the summary is, don't do witchcraft, kids.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the aliens in this movie maybe are more realistic than like Rocky, because
Yeah.
Rocky's too nice. These aliens, they're like giving these people like witch powers, and it's like makes more sense.
I mean, go back and listen to
maybe.
the episode we did on aliens,
Yeah.
but we talk about like
because
the
aliens
magicians.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do
it. But we talk about like the magicians in Egypt and like the quote unquote powers that they had. They were actually real powers. Like when I was thinking like when I was a kid, like the little, like when they made snakes, like the little like firework snakes, like that like grow up out of the little pod beans thing, and they weren't
Yeah.
real snakes, but like they were like the Bible
Yeah.
doesn't say that they were fake snakes. It just says that Moses' snake ate
Yeah.
their snakes.
That's something in the book you told me to read. What was it? The one about the dragon. I can never
Return of
remember.
the Dragon by
Yes, I can
Louis
never
Ungett.
remember the name.
And that
Ever,
is-
ever, ever.
The Return of the Dragon by Louis Ungett. It is a book that's basically about. Oh man, it's actually a really great book. I recommend reading it. It is definitely directly parallel to this conversation about aliens. It's about encounters that people have with serpent deities when they're taking hallucinogenic drugs, and they're not like hallucinogenic.
Really,
is a
it's
misnomer.
It's like it talks about like the correlation between like the demonic and like
Drug use
drugs
slash
and
witchcraft.
slash witchcraft and like all of that. And it's like
the same.
don't do it is the rule. But,
It goes
yeah.
back to like there are two sides.
But it's like in this one, it reminds me a lot of that because he says at one point, he's like, nobody ask anybody before like the enlightenment maybe. And nobody would tell you that witchcraft is like for naught. Everyone would say, yeah, witchcraft gives you real powers. Just
Yeah.
don't do it. And like in this movie, the people who have encounters with aliens, like Emily Blunt, after she looks at the cardinal, she starts talking in gibberish. And then
Speaking in tongues. Yeah, that was freaky. Yeah. No
and it's like, apparently, like, this is like, she has extra special powers.
Well, yeah,
And she
it's
can
like-
be the Scarlet Witch, and she's like holding like her
I don't
little
even mean like speaking in
sorceress
tongues
thing.
as like a joke. I mean like it would kind of reminded me of like Pentecost. Like it was like again so much of what
is like a
demonic
demonic
does
Pentecost.
is like
yeah.
it
Counterfeit.
parallels, cosplays, counterfeits the real
Exactly.
thing. I genuinely don't mean that as a joke. Like, cause she genuinely, after she has this encounter with the cardinal, she starts speaking Italian, and she doesn't
Which
really
the
just speak
cardinal
Italian.
was an alien.
Presenting as an animal
So that they don't
comfort
scare
us.
you.
It says
Ah.
I wrote
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
they present
And then-
as animals to calm us.
Yeah,
And
and
then
there's
I
one
said,
scene in the
"No
movie,
way."
like maybe spoiler. If you're listening to this,
Don't
don't watch the movie. And we don't like the movie. You can watch it for worldview analysis and go, ew, like us. But but at one point in the
podcast
movie,
research.
yes, at one point in the movie, it's like there's this kid, and it's like you think that she's gonna meet an alien, and all of a sudden, it's a deer, and you're like, oh, whew. Wasn't an alien, but it was an alien. And then they take her to this Hansel and Gretel house, and she's like, it was a Hansel and Gretel house. Hansel and Gretel go to meet a witch, by the way.
Yeah.
So, correct. And then they go and do this like pagan ritual with her and this other little boy. And then that's how they get their witch, demon, alien powers.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
And
it's
also, like, if you do any sort of like, if you are, listening to stories where Christians have come to know Jesus and have been rescued by Jesus, there are people who, like, as children, encountered something animal, alien, whatever, and it like followed them, like oppressed them throughout much of their life. And like there's testimonies and stories to this effect. Like this is something like is like something that we can't as Christians just be like, oh, like weird storyline.
Right.
By like what Kayla keeps saying, where it's like no, like witchcraft. What I love learning about in the book The Return of the Dragon is when throughout like the ancient Greek translation of the Bible, Old and New Testament, like the version of the Bible that like people in Jesus's time would have been like reading.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, the word used for sorcerer in that translation, in that ancient Greek translation, is pharmakeia. The same word that could be used to say, like, the same word that you would have derived.
It's the root word for pharmacy.
Yes, for pharmacy, but also, like, for hallucinogenic drugs. And, like, witchcraft, if you think about, like, Hansel and Gretel and, like, the witch putting, like, ingredients,
Like witches'
chemicals.
brews are like
Drugs.
a real thing. It's just like drugs.
We just call it a different thing, and so we put it in a different category in our head. But these are things as we as Christians should stay far away from, and also recognize like there are two sides: light versus dark, good versus evil. Back to this nun. Yep, back to this nun.
Good transition.
Like, I was like, where did we get here? Where like I was like, where were we?
Oh, we don't know.
The nun. And so
None.
Lydia was
Yeah.
like, at this part specifically. But,
Oh yeah,
but
this is.
the girlfriend of one of the guys who had an alien demon encounter and now has powers. Again, like it's not just like a silly movie. Like these are things we need to be assessing. Again, Steven Spielberg doesn't even consider this to be science fiction, so we should be paying attention to this. He's also a prolific and renowned director, so who is shaping and has been shaping our culture for decades. So we do actually have to pay attention to that. Just a reminder. But we talk to nuns. We talk about God, and what do we do about God in the presence of other quote unquote supreme beings? And we'll talk about that in a second. But this nun,
yeah.
the question that she asked is, does God only love us? Does God only love us? Another thing that says, it says we are God's supreme creation on earth. But why would he create
yeah.
such a vast creation and save it only for us?
That nun is like doing like the worst hermeneutic ever. She's like, on earth is what we were made. That's what Genesis says. No, it doesn't. I mean, no, like she's just.
Give me some analysis here. Give me some analysis here, because this theme kept coming up, and also like this was like a direct like affront to the power of God throughout the movie. Again, like super intentionally and specifically, and even the very concept of God. It's presented as the concept of God at first, and then there is a moment where this alien witchcraft power is basically directly confronted with the power of God, quote unquote.
Oh
in this very
yeah.
weak
When
man form.
one of them is like, well,
Trying to
also
fight-
one of them. By the way, witchcraft again. Another person. He's like does like this like astral projection and like takes his magic wand,
Magic,
and he's like,
alien chakra thing. Yeah.
and then he like goes to this like lady who's the
nun.
ex-nun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
she's like the
Foster,
worst.
like sister.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then like as they're talking, this like the astral projection demon possessed guy is trying to like
Take over her mind.
and she's like holding her crucifix
crucifix.
rosary.
Yes.
And like she's trying to like hold
She's
it really hard.
trying
It's
to
kind of
hold
gross.
the
Blood comes out of her
crucifix.
hands and then but all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's alien powers overcomes her faith in
first-
God. And it's like and she's like
First-
and then all of a sudden she's like,
Ooh, don't do
Yeah. There's a moment though as she's like gripping the crucifix for dear life to try to fight off like again like this demonic like possession of her mind is what's happening, by the way, through alien technology. And also there are stories that come out of people that are in very dark places of tech development praying to the aliens, quote unquote, for wisdom. Like again, this is not making this up. You could find this in books that I can recommend. But as she's like gripping the crucifix, again, like there's no power in the object, right? But that's how it's being presented in the movie.
which if that ever happens to you, proclaim the name of Jesus. So don't worry about
Audibly, don't grip
Yeah.
your crucifix.
Yes.
Audibly. But the
there you go.
astral projection apparition of a guy that's trying to possess her mind, he goes away for a second. So we have this like indicator that there is some power to Christianity, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. That's what ends up happening at the end of the scene. So she's trying to fight it. He's coming on. She's trying to pray. She's trying to grip the crucifix. He goes away for a second. So the power of quote unquote Christianity of Christ is working for just a moment. And then it's not good enough. Her hand is bleeding. She drops the crucifix and now he has possession of her mind. So like, that's like a freaky scene. That's a freaky scene, but that theme comes up over and over. So Lydia, when that same girl is talking to her nun sister mother, I don't
Sister
know,
mother.
sister mother.
Sister Mother. Yes.
When she's
The
talking to
worst Christian Catholic ever. by the way.
the specific nun in this movie.
Yeah.
The question, why would he create such a vast creation and save it only for us? What do we do with a line like that?
Oh dear. Well, there's a lot, I think. I mean, you can
where
go
do we
back
start?
to even
No.
John 3:16, which, most Christians have that one memorized, but for God so loved the world, not other planets. So you can just start there. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. And so even if you just stick there, I think you pretty much have a case closed. But I think a couple of other things. So say the quote one more time.
Yeah, so when the nun, because she's like, well, of course, she's basically saying like, of course we're open to the idea of other supreme beings because
She
the
doesn't
question
even
is-
say other created beings. Like that I might let her get away with, but she's like, other supreme beings.
Oh, well, and that's a line that comes up earlier is this girl who was a nun but then walked away from her faith but didn't. She said that she stopped believing that God was divine but never stopped believing that he's necessary.
Yeah. Ew.
That was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the key lines.
Stop believing God is no. Ew.
Yeah. That
doesn't-
What?
okay.
Stop. Don't do
And
it.
so
Stop.
that's crazy.
No, thank
because
you.
she's basically saying like, and this is what Hollywood is very obsessed with right now. Again, so we have to pay attention to this because it does shape and shift the culture, and so we have to be paying attention to that as Christians because even if we don't care or are not affected by it personally, other people around us are. And so she said she stopped believing in God as divine, but never stopped believing that he is necessary because we get our idea of ourselves from God. Basically, that religion is a man-made construct that is necessary for us to have some sense of purpose or meaning in the world is what her assumption is. And I think that's what Hollywood's assumption is. And it's what they're trying to break down is no, there are other supreme beings. And not only are there other supreme beings in these aliens, but they are benevolent. They are good. And that is where I want to go to next. Okay. All right, everyone. Here's an amazing opportunity you don't want to miss. People are always asking Allie and me, what programs to get involved with, what internships to do. We love answering those questions, but there's one program that we really, really love, and it is the Herzog Foundation Ambassador Program. So this program is specially designed for recent college graduates who want to grow professionally, gain leadership experience, and travel a ton while making a real impact. As an ambassador, you'll help spread the word about the Herzog Foundation, connect with like-minded believers, and support Christian education across the country. country. As a member of the Herzog Foundation Podcast Network, we are so honored to help grow this program and share it with our community. Being a Herzog Foundation ambassador is more than just a job, although the pay is great too. It's a chance to develop skills, build your network, and be a part of something bigger. If you're ready to grow, lead, and make a difference, check it out and apply at herzogfoundation.com/ambassadorship-program. That's herzogfoundation.com/ambassadorship-program. Let's stand firm in faith together. Okay, so another theme that came up a lot in this movie, like explicitly and also implicitly, and also in like a lot of the other like alien empathy narratives that we've seen, is the idea of empathy being the supreme value of the universe. And that was something that was said in this movie, empathy being the supreme value of the universe, and that these aliens are empathetic, and therefore, since they are empathetic, we should view them in the like grand scheme of things as like the supreme thing. One of the lines that got me, that's when I just started getting at my phone and started just typing things. At that point I was like, all right, this is like too crazy not to write down. Empathy is evolutionarily necessary was a line that was written down. In order for us to evolve, we must be empathetic. And this is something that I've been wrestling with a little bit since this movie, and also in recent months. Allie Beth Stuckey released a book a couple years ago called Toxic Empathy, and she's received a lot of pushback for that. And her whole thing is like, when we over empathize versus actually helping people, and we take on other people's, like we reflect and mirror other people's burdens, that's not necessarily helpful. And especially when we are convinced to do something that's not biblical, or to feel or to believe something that's not biblical for the sake of empathy, that's not good. That's not edifying. And so read her book for a more elaborate argument on that principle in and of itself. But even the principle of empathy, it sounds really good, right? But the key distinction is sympathy versus empathy. Like, right, that's like the basic distinction, is like, what is the difference between these two things? But as I was thinking about that since this movie, I was thinking about like, is empathy do we even have a biblical basis for empathy? And so we need to define some terms. But when Hebrews is talking about, we do not have a great high priest in Jesus who is unable to sympathize with us and our weaknesses, sympathy means that you can relate to someone's something because of experience, because of shared experience. You're able to relate to it firsthand, directly, like, or second, like, not like you've had that experience. Like, baseball guys like to talk about baseballs are getting, you get hit.
Baseball, you like to talk about baseball.
I don't know. Like, you talk about, did you hit
I thought you were going to say something like real.
And I don't know. Like, I was just thinking, like, dudes will be like, yeah, like they've had the same experience. Like, I do not have any sort of like bad experience with sports because I did not play them. Like, I cannot sympathize with
You
any
did
of your
play.
Except your
You played. She played 1 year of softball. She was really, really good.
We were the like rejects team. Like, my mom signed me up late, so I got put on the leftover team. We practiced one time, and I was in the 3rd grade. So then I quit because I wasn't good at it. So
I remember that being the most embarrassed I've ever felt, like watching a sporting event.
yeah, no, it wasn't.
As a second grader.
I'm saying I cannot sympathize with this. Like, I cannot sympathize. But like, it actually would be like annoying if, like, okay, to use my bad baseball example, if some person playing baseball had this experience that I literally cannot relate to at all, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you mean, and I'm empathizing because I've never actually had that direct experience. First of all, that's annoying. You're just reflecting someone's experience, feelings, etc. And I think it comes from a place of compassion, which compassion's good. Compassion's biblical. But if empathy truly was the supreme value in the universe, then Jesus could have just empathized with us and our weaknesses. He could have been like, oh yes, to be human. Wow. I know what it's like, even though I have never myself come to earth in the form of a man, as a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I haven't thrown this. I was just kind of talking to Lydia about this earlier. And this is like me processing aloud. Like, I don't have like the conclusion to this, but when I see a secular movie that's presenting aliens as being either equal to or superior to God, and it is on the basis of they are more empathetic than we are, so they are therefore better than we are, and empathy is the supreme value in the universe, I have to stop and be like, pause. where is this coming from and what do we do with this? Because it sounds good, right? It kind of sounds like, and like, like, I think like growing up, even like the supreme value in the universe of like every movie or whatever, you could probably say was love. It's love. Love. Like, and that's like, even
Love
Frozen.
thaws the frozen heart.
She goes, love.
I know. I think about that
Love. And
sometimes.
she shoots love from her hands. But
Yeah.
like,
I've always wondered, like, how? What is she loving?
right.
Which honestly,
Love. That's
Yes.
actually
like,
profound.
yes,
because
I know.
love.
I was about to say it's Anna,
Yeah.
but it's like
No, she's
Anna.
shooting it. She's shooting it at the winter.
Yeah, it's the winner.
She's shooting it at the
And
winter.
so
She's
is-
love at the winter.
But also, like, is it
Love.
like, is her snow the opposite? Is she like shooting hate?
Right. I think
I don't know.
technically in the Snow Queen that kind of like,
It
she's
is.
the
Well,
villain.
the Snow Queen
She's
is
witch.
the yes, and also I think I haven't really read the Snow Queen.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I
was
don't
I
read it at
started
all.
to one time because I have a
Jack
Hans Christian
Marino?
Andersen book.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really long.
Jack Marino is a
It's
content
really
creator
short,
online
but-
who came out of the occult. She came to know Jesus after coming out of the occult, and she sounds the alarm on a lot of kids' movies. A lot of kids' movies that have actually deeply pagan and demonic and occult origins that are being presented in so many narratives to children. So check out some of Jack Marino's work. But she was talking about Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen and the origins of like what Elsa's story actually is and how that it permeates through the story that we present to children. But like even like that's 2013, and love is the supreme value. But now it is definitely shifted, and empathy is now the supreme value in the universe. So my question to seminarians, yeah, thank you. Seminarians, what is the biblical argument for empathy? I did not prepare you for this.
Yeah, no.
I did not prepare you
Yeah.
for this at all,
okay.
but just like initial thoughts. I just think of legitimately like we do not have a great high priest who is unable to sympathize with us and our weaknesses. Like Jesus did come to earth as a man, like came to earth as a man, became flesh, lived as a human, and died as a human. That's significant.
Yes.
Didn't just like project feelings and emotions. That wasn't what allowed him to take our place and to die, to be a sacrifice for humanity, to be the propitiation for the sins of humanity. Like he had to become not just flesh, like an a specific flesh, like an alien flesh, for instance, like in some body, but like in a human body. That was a significant component of the humanity with which he became. Like this.
On the Imago Dei, look back at our aliens episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are referencing ourselves.
Oh dear.
No, but it's true because and again, like Lydia and I were talking about this. Oh, I was like curling my hair for this episode, but even just like the devaluation of the Imago Dei, the specialness of being created in the image of God, it keeps coming up in everything. Again, like this line literally says, like, does God only love us? We are God's supreme creation on earth, but why would he create such a vast creation and save it only for us? Let me just flip on that. Why would he create such a vast creation and choose to come to earth to save us, to love us? Like, you know what I mean? Like that is a testament, a glory, a beauty of his vastness, of the fact that being created in the image of God is so special and is so unique. And but all the time, like that's what I didn't like about Project Hail Mary, is that Ryan Gosling was just a species of his planet who was trying to save his specimen of his planet. And so was Rocky, the alien who was just a specimen of his planet trying to save the specimen of his planet. Both are equally valuable, the same. They had empathy for one another. And in fact, they probably had sympathy in some ways because they were experiencing the same things, but in the narrative of the story, they were the same. The human being and the rock alien were the same. And if you look at it at face value, you're like, yeah, that's a great perspective. There might be other places and planets and aliens and creatures out there, and they're just as valuable as we are. They're just as special as we are as human beings. And why is that so significantly problematic? Why is that so significantly dangerous if we begin to internalize this narrative that's pervading so much of our media and just even our technology with like AI development, that humans aren't special. We keep saying that over and over. Humans aren't special. Why is equating alien life to human life or other intelligent beings with human beings so significant?
Mostly, I think it just devalues human life. Again, it just goes back to the Imago Dei, like you were saying, and it devalues it. I'm still gonna bring it up, the Incredibles quote, because when everybody's special, no one is. And so that's kind of just where my brain goes immediately is you're just devaluing it. If it's spread out like that, then what's the point? What's the purpose? Why are humans special? And also then that begs the question, well, did Jesus go and die for the sins of other aliens? Or like,
yeah. Well, and again, so when we did our Project Hail Mary episode, so we talked about this on the Alien episode that Caleb and I did, but when we did our Project Hail Mary episode, there was a comment where someone brought up C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy as kind of like that exact question, and Caleb makes fun of me for this because I really resisted.
It's so funny.
I really resisted reading that for a long time.
And she also did not like. All the Space Trilogy books are not created equal. The first one is not quite as good as the other two, and she really had a hard time reading the first one. Like, I wouldn't say she hated it.
A little bit. Well, here's the thing.
Complained
I
a lot.
don't actually have like a natural propensity for science fiction. Like, it's never something that I grew up like.
All the things that all of the Christian boys read, like Tolkien, Space Trilogy, like those things, she does not like those.
No, it's like I don't have a natural propensity
not
for them,
naturally.
like, at all. Like,
she's gotten very
well. Here's the thing. When
good.
Steven Spielberg,
She's gotten better.
when
Good
Steven
job.
Spielberg is like one of the most like genuinely like prolific directors, like one of the most well-known directors like of like recent decades in our country, and he is saying of his own movies, this is the first one that will be considered science fiction that I don't think is science fiction. Again, I'm just like gonna keep bringing that up as a reminder of like why we're getting so deeply into this. It matters that we as Christians are assessing it again, like as the Overton window of what we deem as normal as a society shifts with what our culture is kind of pushing and shifting the Overton window, and we think that things are normal now that we never would have thought were normal 45 years ago in so many aspects. Like, so I pay attention to that. Like, I keep bringing that up because I pay attention to that. So even though I don't have a natural propensity for science fiction, I see where there are so many themes and narratives that are presented through the vehicle of science fiction that are really important.
Yes.
And so that's why I finally succumbed to reading the Space Trilogy. And so someone brought up in the comments on the Project Hail Mary video, well, what about C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, where you have this expanded cosmos where there are other intelligent beings within the cosmos? Like, it's not just
and they are
Earth.
special.
And they are special. Like, well, yeah, it's kind of like the talking animals in Narnia, where it's like there's normal animals and there's talking animals, right? And so it's like the distinction. But the significant thing, like C.S. Lewis isn't dumb, and what he took very careful consideration to do and incorporate through this, again, like work of fiction. Like, this is not the Bible. This is not biblical standard. This is not canon. This is just an example that someone referenced back to me when I was saying that aliens and humans aren't the same and aren't equally special. He makes the point of in that narrative that Maladil,
yes,
something.
who's basically like God.
Yeah.
And not basically, is God in this universe.
Expanded cosmos.
But he in this Space Trilogy, God made the planets in order, like from outside to in towards the sun, basically. And on Mars, it's like there's all these sentient beings, but they're not really humanoid. Right. They walk, they talk, but one of them kind of looks like a hippo elephant. The other thing looks like a walking. Like, the monsters on Monsters, Inc. This is what makes me think of. The one that's like really long with like the short body? That's a Sorn. That's what it is. It's the alien on. I know.
Well, now that you have that imagery of like the pink one that plays frisbee, is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Oh,
yes, Monsters University. Yeah.
But what C.S. Lewis makes it is this expanding. So there are these creatures that are like, they do have like intelligence, and they are seen as valuable in this expansion of like our own cosmos that C.S. Lewis is again constructing in this fictional context.
But then the crux of you were saying this when we were talking earlier.
Is that Maladil, God, comes to Thulkandra, Earth.
She's using more nerdy words than I am.
No, I'm just saying, like, in that context, like, God
That's
comes
the-
to Earth, our Earth, in the form of a man.
It's the climax of like the meta narrative of that
Of
universe.
that entire universe. It's not just like a climax of a meta narrative of the universe. It is like that is the key thing.
And they talk about that in Perelandra when, again, the main character from Earth goes to Venus, which is like a newer universe, and he meets this lady. She's green, but she looks like a human. And they start talking, and he's like, why do you look like a human? Like, I don't know how to get on it. But she basically says, well, I mean, think about it, because Mal-El-Dil, God, came into human form on Earth. So the most special beings are definitely always, from now on, going to look like humans, because humans are his
created
image.
in the image
Yes.
of God. And that is what is always going to set human beings apart from all other entities, no matter what. And so it is so interesting, like going back to this like idea of empathy, how Satan likes to cosplay the good. He
Ew,
likes
I do
to-
not like that image.
He does. But he does.
No, that's fair.
He does. And like even going back
Poses
to
as an
this,
angel of light.
he poses as an angel of light.
He
So
cosplays as an angel of light.
he does. He literally does. Like we
mean-
see that over and over again. But so something that happens in this movie
Cosplays
is
as
that-
Gabriel from Muhammad.
I literally was
Yeah.
I know.
thinking
He cosplays as Gabriel. No, what's his name? Morai.
Morai.
Yeah, or something.
Right, yeah.
For Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
These
Ew.
pseudo
Don't do Mormonism,
Eve,
kids.
even. Like-
demonic, cultish
Or
things.
Islam.
No, that's what. But like that's like the Bible says that it's like if like an angel of light presents to you another gospel,
Let him be
do
anathema.
it. Do not do it. What is it?
Let him be anathema.
Anathema. That's crazy.
Let him be.
But-
Let him be
so
damned
in a
is the
similar-
words, but
in
yeah.
a similar vein, in this movie, in Disclosure Day, you have these two like Emily Blunt and basically Linguini from Ratatouille. I don't know who's
Emily Blunt Linguini, yes.
I
What a
saw it,
cast.
I was
That's
like,
what I thought too. So she's not alone.
I was like, wow, it would be good in like a live action remake of
Mhm.
what's that movie called? Ratatouille.
Yeah, she called
What's
him
the movie
linguini,
called?
and I didn't bat an eye. I was like, yeah. It was like,
Yeah. No, but, like, so they're visited by these aliens when they're young, and they are given powers, and so that's kind of what
They're
happens.
alienly abducted.
Yes.
Alienly abducted.
Alienly abducted. But
Alien
so,
abduction.
and so
Possessed.
what happens like to Emily Blunt, where she has like these kind of powers reenacted, is she has this encounter with a cardinal, this
Yeah.
animal that presents as good and beautiful, and she has this encounter with this cardinal, and then she starts speaking Italian to her boyfriend. She doesn't realize that she's speaking
Mhm.
Italian, and so
Or like
it's kind of
Russian.
It's Russian.
I said
Yeah.
Italian earlier, and then Lydia was like, "It's Russian," and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't really
"Oh yeah, it was kind of Russian."
But it was like definitely, it was like speaking in, it was almost like a speaking in
Yeah.
tongues. I don't even say that as a joke, as in like, again, a cosplay of like the narrative of
Yeah.
like Pentecost, like actually where it's like this encounter with this spiritual, this spirit
Is giving her
is giving her
powers.
power, especially
And
of
she also,
language,
like-
specifically of
yeah.
language.
Also, more things. Like for some reason, she gets everything. The other guy knows math.
Yeah.
But and then like she knows the languages, and then she gets pulled over by this guy,
Yeah.
and she looks into his eyes, the cop, and she's like, "Oh, you have a
Suddenly
bad
psychic.
family life. Your kid. You
Yeah,
should go talk to your kid. Go talk to your wife."
she offers wisdom
Smith. Yes.
consistently throughout the
And
movie,
it's like-
and helpful
How weird.
wisdom,
Yeah, and
useful wisdom.
it's gross.
It
and
is
it's
gross.
I would not welcome it.
No,
No,
it's
nothing whatsoever. Don't
do witchcraft.
don't do witchcraft. And so here's the thing too, is because of this, because they have powers, right? Again, like witchcraft, going back to like these are
Aliens,
things.
demons, witchcraft, hallucinogenic drugs,
Yeah.
all the stuff. I was just gonna go past it, but drugs.
light versus dark, there's good versus evil. Your real power, like the Bible says, like in Ephesians 6, when we talk about the whole armor of God,
Yes.
and we like put up the flannel graph, it starts with like we do
flannel
not,
graph.
we do, and it's like we just like oh, the armor of God, and it's just like this like
Yeah.
the soldier, and then we just like move on. But it's,
Yeah.
like, it literally begins with like, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. And Calvin and I talk about that a lot in the last episode. But so they have these powers, right? And that becomes like known that they are like the chosen ones through which these empathetic.
You were the chosen one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
little
we
Star
said that
Wars,
earlier,
little
and then
Star
we cut it
Wars
out, and I was like,
for you.
no,
Yeah.
but now we got it back.
Oh, we didn't. Yeah, we were just having this conversation. I was like, wish we were recording that, and then now you got to say it. So congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations.
I don't even love Star Wars that much, but I love that part.
Yeah, it's pretty. That part is like pretty iconic.
Star Wars
But
is,
anyway,
like,
so these are the chosen
solid
ones.
6 out of 10
Emily
in my
Blunt
book.
and Remy are the chosen ones, and they have powers. And everyone,
Linguini.
yes, everyone knows this at this point. And so then there's a point where this woman literally like kneels before Emily Blunt
Yes.
and like
does the sign of the cross.
Right.
And then she says, I will not become anyone's religion, as she like freaks out and runs inside.
It's like the only good thing she ever did in that movie was not be worshipped.
Yeah.
For a second.
For just
For
a
a
second.
second.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened
Yeah.
after
For
that?
just a second. But like that is like a significant thing. Like people are seeing that there is like something beyond ourselves and is powerful and is good and is benevolent, and that like necessarily like becomes something that people will follow. And there are people that follow like aliens as a religion at this point in time. Like, this is
Don't do it.
don't do it. Don't do it. Stay far away from it. But also throughout the movie, when it comes to like the alien like chakra thing, like again, witchcraft.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to like the astral projection thing, the possession thing, again, witchcraft, they say the line over and over, you have to give yourself over to it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. So that's why we as Christians, like, when it like we talked about the part where the crucifix and where the crucifix is used to fight off the alien power.
But
just
it's
a
not
second,
powerful
but it's
enough.
not powerful enough. No, like as Christians, we don't have to be afraid of any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be afraid of any of this stuff, and we proclaim the name of Jesus. And we have authority through the Holy Spirit, the one true God who doesn't have to do counterfeits of the truth. Like he is the truth, and we have that truth. We have him. The Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead lives in us if we turn from our sins, confess Jesus as Lord, and believe in our hearts that God raised him from the dead. Like if we are saved, like that, we have power and authority. We do not have to be afraid. We do have to be cognizant of these narratives. We have to be cognizant that when we're seeing witchcraft, we are literally seeing the satanic, the demonic. That was actually in the movie at one point. It got to the point where like the antagonists who are like trying to stop the release of the alien information would show up, and I would be like, the good guys are coming. Thank goodness. The good guys are here.
Yeah.
The good guys are here. And I was like, the Christians are coming at one point in time, and Caleb was like, I mean, at the least the not Satanists. Because that's the point we're getting to.
Yeah, because I mean, especially like towards the end when you realize that the kids were like part of a pagan ritual.
Yeah.
And like it's like
And
in the Hansel and Gretel house, which by the way, Hansel and Gretel go to the witch's house.
right. And also like the idea of like children being like taken and having encounters with aliens, and then being like kind of followed and oppressed for the rest of their lives, or until Jesus rescues them. That this is like a thing. This is like a thing. Don't look too far down this rabbit trail. Like, please don't. But like, that's not something that someone made up. Like that comes from encounters, phenomena that actually have been documented to have occurred. So that's something we stay far away from. But all of these questions about like, how do we define humanity? What does it mean to be human? Are humans special at all? If we do not value the image of God, going back to what you were saying earlier, that gives us license to let's legalize euthanasia. That's fine. It gives us license to kill babies in the womb. It gives us license to do experiments on children and change their gender and see if their psychology follows suit. Like, it gives us license to mutilate and destroy the image of God if we do not value the image of God, but if we don't see any inherent superiority to being created in the image of God, like, because we are made in the image of God, who is the supreme being of the universe. Like, again, back to that nun saying, like, why would God create such a vast creation and save it only for us? No, like,
What a
why would
terrible
God?
line.
That's a terrible line. So, but why would, like, truly, like, why would the God of the universe, like, the verse, like, what is man that you are mindful of him? Like, that verse blows my mind every single time. And that's the God we serve. He did come to earth in the form of a man to save us, to rescue us, because he loves us. He didn't empathize with us and our weaknesses. He sympathized sympathize with us in our weaknesses. He became a person. The incarnation is just mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. And that is the supreme value of the universe, is love as Jesus. Jesus, loving the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving our neighbor as ourselves because of the personification of love, who is God, who laid down his life for us. Like, it's like, yes, you can get all of that out of this movie. Like, it's not just saying, it's not like, oh wow, you're really reaching here, Abby. It's like, nope. Like, if there is a movie, if there is a book that is not presenting a biblical worldview, then it is a wrong worldview. And when it comes up so often, we have to pay attention to it. So many questions. Who are we? And what is our place in the universe? Where does that leave us as Christians, and what do we do about it? To wrap. You have a quote pulled up.
I have a quote pulled up.
You have a verse.
I have a verse pulled up. Everything you're saying,
yeah. Something, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep going until Lydia
Okay,
like,
yeah. Well, I don't know if we rode the wave, but
yeah.
this is like everything that you're just saying. So I just looked up 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. So just echoing everything that we've already said. And that's the playbook.
The next verse says,
Resist
him.
firm in the faith.
It's not even like you can resist him. It's
right.
No, do resist him. Firm in your faith. Like, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like the roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. It's not passive. Seeking someone to devour a mind, a Christian who's like, wait, maybe we're not special.
Right.
Maybe there is more to, and that's what the DOJ thought, that it would wreck Christian faith for us to know that there are aliens and UFOs. Steven Spielberg made comments. The girl in the movie, the narrative, the script was written as if this would shake the Christian
However,
faith.
if we're Christians, we're the only ones who've been saying for a long time that there are things other than what we can see on Earth.
And measure and touch.
Correct.
Feel.
Yes.
Angels and demons
Yes.
and powers and principalities. Yes.
Yes.
Like,
They're like, hey, just so you know, there might be like more than just people. And we're like, whoa, hold on a second.
wait a minute, it's almost like you've been saying this the whole time. Also, when you're trying to like find like salvation through like the aliens, and like, listen.
Oh yeah.
You're trying to find salvation
That was a
in
very
AI.
funny end of the movie, by the way, because can we spoil like all of it?
Well, I'm just gonna wrap up my point with the serious part of the gospel, where like there is salvation in Jesus and humanity is saved through Jesus. But yes, please, yes.
Oh, well, like at the end of the movie,
please.
they're like, they bring out this like actual alien that's been, I guess, like in
orchestrating
captivity.
the whole thing the whole time. No, this is the one that was like calling the shots all along.
Oh, was it?
Oh, I thought it was
yeah.
just an old
I didn't
lady.
catch that.
Its brain was like this big.
But
So
see, it was
this is
like
the brain
there, and they
orchestrator.
brought it, and then like the Emily Blunt goes and talks to it, and you're like, and then she comes back to like tell the whole world, and the whole big thing she says, listen, black out.
Yep.
And like, that, like we as humans, like we're not what we.
We're not
we
listening
are.
to all of everything.
It's like we need to
well
like
enough.
lower our pride and submit to the reality that there
The
are,
other supreme beings.
and that is like literally the message that's presented throughout the entire movie. And so what we can be confident in as Christians, as these narratives swirl, and people are talking about it again, like I said, like I talked about this at a baby shower recently, a baby shower recently, just with people who were bringing it up. People are talking about it, people are thinking about it. And if you're not prepared as a Christian to, again, like consider like, yes, of course, there's more than what we can see, touch, and feel. Yes, of course, there are other intelligent, quote unquote, non-human beings. Like we believe in angels and demons if we are Christians. But we can trust that God is the quote unquote supreme being of the universe. He is creator and Lord of all. Like we can be confident in that. And any challenge to that is literally a demonic affront, assault, attack. And we do have to be sober-minded and watchful. Any final thoughts, guys? Don't do witchcraft. Don't do it. Is that what it is?
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't.
Any final thoughts, ideas, questions, comments, concerns? Wow, that was such a ride.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do witchcraft. And
And pay attention to the narratives and the stories around us.
Yes.
Yeah.
because they matter.
Yeah.
Wow, we're really out of words here. So that's going to be a wrap
I know.
for us on today's episode of the Counteract podcast. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are mine, Lydia's, and Caleb's, and do not necessarily reflect those of the Herzog Foundation. Come to our conference October 2nd and 3rd in Rochester, Arkansas. Tickets are available at counteractusa.org.
I didn't know tickets were already available.
Yes, they are on early bird
Surprise.
pricing, Caleb. Early bird pricing is an
Early bird? Wow!
discount off your early bird ticket.
I can get a discount on the Counteract USA Resolve to Stand conference tickets.
We actually hyped you up in the last episode of the podcast by
Wow.
saying that you helped name the conference.
Oh.
So yes, use code podcast20,
Yay.
20% off of your tickets. Thanks so much for joining us, bearing with us, thinking with us, processing with us.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.